Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to go over the two-player game Homeworlds by Looney Lab Games. So let's go ahead down to the table here. I'll give you a general overview of the game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is going to be a typical setup of Homeworlds. This game has a lot going on for it. There's a lot of depth to this game for just being made up of a whole bunch of little pyramids. There's just a basic overview of the game, but just keep in mind that there's going to be a lot more to it. I just want to give you an idea how the game plays. Now, in the game, there's going to be 4 different colors. You got your green, red, yellow, and blue. Your green allows you, they're like your factory, they allow you to make more units. Your red allows you to do your combat, but in this game, these ships are very valuable, so you're basically taking over the ships of the opponent, so you're just converting a ship to your side. You have your yellow that lets you travel, and your blue that lets you change colors of ships. So in your starting world, you're going to have a binary system. So when they're standing upright, they're stars, and when they're laying down, they're ships. You're also going to, so you know which ships are you're going to point your ship at your opponent. So you know this is my ship because I'm going to be sitting over here, and my ship is pointing that way. Now, at the start of the game, you're going to pick 2 different sizes and 2 different colors. And that's going to be your starting system. Depending on what you pick, depends on how large the system is. And that has a lot to do with the fact that when you travel from a star to a star, you have to travel to a star that is a different size than what is here. So, depending on how you picked your stars, depends on how the distance between the stars. So in here, I have to go to a medium star if I'm going to travel. Well, I'll need a yellow ship to do that. And it is also worth pointing out 2 different things. One is this is a finite stack of resources in the bank. So this is most of the game is going to be controlling what you have of these, because if you run out, you can deny your opponent's ability to increase ship sizes, do all sorts of fun stuff. So there's a lot in the economy of the game. So just keep that in mind if you go through it, go through the rules, and you're going to play for your first time. You're going to realize that that's going to be super important, that economy. So in the game, you only really have 1 action per turn. So you can increase this by doing what's called a sacrifice, but in general, what you're going to do is you're going to do an action, and the action is going to be related to the colors you have available. Now, these colors, which I went over, that have the different abilities, aren't limited to the ships. Also, you can use the colors of your star. Any virtue stars in the middle are going to have 1 star instead of your home binary home planet stars. So on your turn, you'll do the 1 action. Like here, I can use the green to produce another ship. So, and I can use blue to change the color. So I'm going to produce another ship. Let's say I produce another large ship. On my next turn, I can make a decision. I can produce more greens, which I'd have to get the next size down because the bigger size is not available. Or I can use blue to change the color. So let's say change it to yellow. And now I'm not quite doing this right because sizes, I believe, if I'm thinking it right, you have to start with the smallest size. So I did it wrong. Sorry about that. So if I produced one, it'd be green. And then I could change it to yellow if I want to start traveling. And so on. Now, one thing to keep in mind, that if you wipe out the small section, you can now get the larger section, so you have to watch out for that. So that's another thing you need to keep in mind, is if your opponent takes the last of a smaller one, and you may want to build because you'll get the next size up, which is really cool. So traveling is just going to be simple. You're going to pick a color from here, and which is going to be a medium size, and you're going to put that out on the board. And that is how you're going to travel to it. So here I'll have to do this little yellow one, and I can travel up to it. Okay. So, oh, losing conditions. So one thing you don't want to do is what I just did. So you're going to spend some turns just building out some ships and stuff, because if your homeworld's ever empty, you lose the game. That is it. So you're basically trying to empty out their system. And you can do it a couple different ways. One thing you can do is you can use combat. And the combat's simply going to be, as you notice, the different size to help out. It has the different pips on it. So your mediums have 2, your large has 3, and your small has 1. If you're ever in a system, like let's say right here, and let's say your opponent has a ship there, and on my turn I can do an action. And if my ship is larger than the opponent's ship, I can take it. It's now my ship. So you have to keep that in mind. If you ever leave a system with a lone in the middle with a star, it just disappears. And you can jump around as much as you want in the game, but your end up goal is going to be eliminating their system. A couple other things that I wanted to point out in the game is that you notice that you have only one action per turn, but what you can do is something super powerful. You can sacrifice one of these units. Now, these will give you bonus actions based on their size. So if I sacrificed a green, let's say, which green builds, so if I sacrifice the green, then I get to do 3 build actions. So I can remove the space, do 3 build actions. If I sacrificed large yellow, I could do 3 move actions. I could change 3 colors with the large blue, or I could build 3 things with the, or I can do 3 combats with the large red. Of course, in the mediums there's 2, and the smalls are 1. So that's a really powerful thing that you can time properly. And one thing that you're going to try to do during the game is you're going to try to take that homeworld, obviously. And it would be very difficult if the only thing you could do is take them over with the red ships. One thing you can do in the game is called a catastrophe. If you have, at any point in the game, if you have 4 or more ships at a system, so barring whether this is going to be appropriate for the game or not, just to show you. So okay, so let's say I'm here, and I move some ships up here, which this is not actually a great setup. So let's maybe do something weird like that. So let's say I have something like that. And I can trigger a catastrophe. Overpopulations, the overpopulated color, I'll return it to the bank. So if I come here and I pick green, which I did on purpose, all these would be returned to the bank. Now, if you eliminate the star in the process when you're doing this, you will destroy all ships. So if I eliminated this green star, all these ships would be returned to the bank. So with that idea, with overpopulation, you can, with catastrophes from overpopulation, you can take out the opponent's star. And there's a lot of strategy to this area, because when you take out your opponent's star with a catastrophe, you're going to notice that, well, there's 2 different ways. You can take out your opponent's ships, which is going to be a little safer, or you can take out their star. And the star is going to have to be in a 2-phase thing, because there's 2 different colors. But one thing you're going to realize is taking out their ships of their homeworld is safer, because if you take out one of their stars, which is cooler, they now only have one size. So if I take out the blue, they only have red. So that means that they can travel to small and medium-sized stars, which opens up the galaxy more to them. So if you're going to, and makes it super easy for them to rush to your star. So if you're going to win by taking out their stars, you're going to need to be able to maneuver yourself in a manner that you can do both through overpopulation, one right after another, to eliminate the game. But for beginners, I would definitely say that the route to go is going to be eliminating your opponent's ships. And then when you get used to more of the super strategy that's in this game, then you can try some more use some more flair in winning the game and take out their binary star. Now, there's a lot of other little things to this game, but this generally gives you an overview of how the game plays. Let's go ahead back to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Homeworlds. So, Homeworlds by Looney Lab Games. Wow. Okay, so I started off with the pyramid system. I didn't know anything about it at all. And I started off with Martian chess, which is a good, fun, abstract chess-like game. And then I went to Homeworlds. Homeworld is amazing. It is. I have no idea how they came up with like a abstract 4X game with just little pyramids. It's ingenious. I like it a lot. I like the amount of strategy you get with just 4 different ship types. Or 4 different colors, I should say, because you can use the stars color. And a couple different rules for the game. So the game itself, the rulebook's pretty thick on there, but the rules in general aren't that complicated. Where the game really comes into is where you have to manage the bank, which is going to be the remaining pyramids you have, and your board. So it's hard to explain a lot because you really just have to play the game. And I'm saying, like, if you don't mind that it's abstract and you're looking for a fun 4X game that doesn't take up all that much area, really. I mean, you can play it on a small table, and you can determine the length of the game by your starting home system. This game might be the game for you. I was very pleasantly surprised in the game. I like it a lot. I think that this is one of my probably more of my favorite abstract games, and I love 4X games. So right there, that was a big bonus on there. I just can't get over how much strategy is in this game with just a bunch of little pyramids. In fact, when I went over the rules originally, I get a little overwhelmed originally because it's just a bunch of triangles. So I'm like, I didn't have like high expectations going into it because it's just a bunch of triangles. But they did an amazing job. I mean, this is a great game. So again, if you're looking for like a 4X style abstract game that plays in not a lot of time, well, it depends. I mean, you can get some sort of deadlocks in there, but in general, the game plays really quickly, definitely comparatively to other 4X games. And it's really easy to save the state of your game. You can just take a photo of it and just rebuild the game from there, based on the picture. So that was Homeworlds. This is one that I highly recommend checking out. Thank you for watching.